Welcome on Texas football. Time for rapid reactions. I'm Bobby Burton, joined by Gerry Hamilton. This episode brought to you by our friend Adam Lowy over at the Lowy Law Firm. Gerry, Longhorns beat OU 23-6 yesterday. Trey Weiser, the MVP of that game. The Longhorns got a run game started, and he also was helpful out of the backfield. But I'll tell you what, maybe the story of the game is not only this Texas defense, but also just how well Texas controlled the game on offense in the second half, led by Arch Manning. When he got help from Trey Weiser, Arch Manning played remarkably well on Saturday.
Yeah, look, I think we're seeing growth from Arch Manning, and we don't want to overdo it, right? He's still a young quarterback in terms of starting. But look, this is his first Red River rivalry game. This is his first road win or neutral win as a starting quarterback at Texas. And it came after the Texas team had a really rough performance last week, and the game didn't close out well for him in that 2-minute drive. I mean, he made some young errors with the sacks. So his bounce back, again, he's shown the ability to bounce back this year. And he's also shown he showed the ability yesterday, I should say, was if you can actually not put him in 3rd and 11 on average for the course of the game. I mean, I know the third down and distance was 9.2, but that was just that number was big because the first 4 over 20. But look at the rest of the game. If you can put him in any young quarterback, but if you can put Arch in enough 3rd and medium, 3rd and shorts, where it's not all on him and the offensive line's shoulders. I mean, he did a really good job. He's played under duress going back to high school at Isidore Newman. So that's not anything new for him. I thought he made smart plays. Did he play perfect football? No. Who plays perfect football? He missed a couple of reads. Yeah, of course he did. But I thought he again showed smarts at the end of the game is one of the things. Like last week was rough, but at the end of this game, Saturday, he showed smarts like not getting tackled, like sliding after the big run, right? He didn't throw an interception. He had 0 turnovers. Jean Mateer had 3. He protected the football in that game yesterday. So I thought Arch is continuing to progress, and especially think about how far he's come since UTEP.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think he's getting truer looks from defenses now. I mean, Brent Venables did not do a lot of stuff to him, but I felt like he had command of the game. We talked about this in the postgame show. 21 of 27 for 166, a touchdown, no interceptions. Didn't really put the ball in harm's way. Moved the pocket well. Moved in the pocket. I just feel like what we're seeing now is a older, more mature quarterback, and he's maturing each and every game. I thought he played better against Florida than he did against Ohio State, for example. So each game this year, he's improved, I think, at least of the big games. We'll see if he continues that going on, because you made the point that you don't want to just see one game up, one game down. You need to see some improvement consecutively. Well, I think we've seen that now 2 weeks in a row. Let's see if he can go take that show on the road, because this is his first non-home win.
Yeah.
And it's a neutral site game. Next week is a game that's on the road in Lexington. So we'll see how that works. But big game from Arch Manning yesterday. I think that his command was a big difference maker. He's a better quarterback than Jean Mateer on the day. And, Jean Mateer is getting Heisman front-running conversation prior to this game and prior to the injury.
Yeah, and one of the things Arch did well, and I agree with the command, and I thought he maneuvered around in the pocket really well. I think I've seen improvement there because, again, Oklahoma is a really good pass rushing team. Now, again, Texas was in more third and manageables for him, and the offensive line was in a better position to protect him in this game. But I still think you're seeing growth there as well. And before anything, everything has to slow down in the pocket before everything else slows down, right? So, I mean, I think you're starting to see that growth from Arch. And again, I was happy for him as a guy, a human, whatever you want to say, because he's done everything the right way since he's been at Texas. He stayed out of the limelight. He's the first guy in, the last guy to leave. He has never once been a complainer, right, about the situation of sitting 2 years. He has done everything he can to help this university, and it's good to see him have the success and put on that golden hat Saturday, because when it's bad for him, he takes more abuse nationally than any college athlete I've seen.
Unbelievable. I could not agree more. All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about another aspect of the offense that really got uncorked. I thought got gelled a little bit on Saturday, as well as some defensive standouts that you and I wanted to talk about. But first, we want to say thank you to Adam Lowy and the Lowy Law Firm. If you've been injured in a car wreck, truck wreck, automobile accident of any kind, from ATV to 18-wheeler, make sure you give Adam a shout at loweylawfirm.com. He's been helping injured Texans for 20-plus years. Again, that's Adam Lowy over at loweylawfirm.com. Thank you, Adam, for your sponsorship of On Texas Football and Rapid Reactions. Jerry, that group I said that gelled a little bit on Saturday, the offensive line, the much maligned offensive line.
Yeah.
Clear difference on Saturday. Clear difference. The running game got started. Maybe that's partially because Trey Wisner was probably finally back and he runs the stretch play well. Maybe it's the insertion of Nick Brooks into the starting lineup. Maybe it's Arch Manning get better command. But whatever the case, look, I thought that Arch was going to get beat up in this game yesterday, and he was not. The pass protection for Texas was much better than it's been all year long, really, against a team that really gets out of the after the quarterback. What are your thoughts on the offensive line? Obviously, I think they stick with Nick Brooks, the true freshman, at left guard from here on out. But your overall thoughts?
After the first two drives, they didn't have a penalty either. I mean,
they had a bunch during the first two, but
yeah. So, I mean, think about that for a second and where we were at, because that's one of the things going into the game all week was, can they flip the switch? Not flip the switch. Can you go from an undisciplined offensive line in terms of pre-snaps and penalties in general to being very disciplined in a rivalry game? Well, after Nick Brooks got his initial jitters out of the way, which anybody would have starting that game, and especially he's never played left guard before, starting in college. His first college starts against Oklahoma in that defensive front. After they got that out of the way, I thought they played as mistake-free and helped Arch and helped Trey and helped the offense much more so than they have at any point in this season. I mean, look, did Brandon Baker have a penalty Saturday?
No, first time he has it as a Longhorn starter.
That's a good sign for Brandon Baker. They can build confidence off of this game. DJ Campbell can have confidence in his right tackle. And look, the left side, Nick Brooks is going to be a really good player. We talked about this. We know he didn't play the first 3 games, air quotes, but they have a chance to move people on the left side with Nick Brooks and Trevor Gooseby lined up next to each other.
Yeah,
Nick Brooks is hard. He can move people, and then he's hard to get around. He presents a different problem for future defensive linemen and defensive coordinators at that left guard position.
They ran at R. Mason Thomas on Saturday and had success. Part of that is both Trevor Gooseby and Nick Brooks being successful. Your point about DJ Campbell having a good solid showing, I thought he showed some nastiness. I thought Cole Hudson had a really good game. He had a block downfield on Trey Wisner's big run that I thought was terrific. All in all, it was the best game of the year, in my opinion, for the Texas offensive line. And frankly, Jerry, in a competitive game, whether it be Florida or Ohio State, the 2 previous, this is the best overall offensive performance for the Longhorns as well. I mean, just in a competitive game. I'm not talking about Sam Houston State and San Jose State, but in a competitive game, this is the best Longhorn offense we've seen this year.
And if you look at the box score, some people say, well, Texas only had 302 yards and 16 first downs. Yeah, but look, the first 2 drives, they were moving the football, and they had the self-inflicteds again and killed those 2 drives when they were getting something done early. So if you take after that point, Texas moved the football pretty consistently. It was a lower possession game, but they moved the football consistently. I mean, 3 drives of over 10 plays. They hadn't done that all year, to my knowledge. It's not against anybody good. And by the way, Oklahoma was giving up 193 yards per game, and there was number 1 in the nation in third down defense. And this was Texas' best third down performance of the season by far, not even close, considering who they were playing.
Yeah, very good performance on offense overall. Let's step over to the defense, Jerry, if you don't mind. We wanted to bring up 3 guys that we felt like had an impact. It was an overall really good performance.
Yeah.
So we're not. This is rapid reactions. It's not some long diatribe. I felt like Manny Muhammad with the 2 picks. Brad Spence had a big game, and then Colin Simmons brought it.
Yeah.
Yet again, it's 2 back-to-back games for him where I think he's made a difference. What did you see on those guys? Particularly, let's talk about Brad Spence, because he could be a real difference maker for this team because of the negative plays he brings to the table.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's been kind of a mystery to me this season because he was a really good player at Arkansas. I mean, he had 54 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and that's in the SEC as a starter, as a second-year player. That is a really good season. Some guys are just playmakers. I think Brad Spence is a playmaker, and I think sometimes you have to just say, you know what, maybe we just gotta change the way we're fitting him into a defense, but we got to get your playmakers on the field, right? I mean, oftentimes we talk about playmaking; it's more offense. But you have to get your playmakers on the field. They had 2 tackles for loss and the sack. Yes, Oklahoma's offensive line is a real weakness for them, but some guys are just playmakers. And Brad Spence has proven last year at Arkansas, and when he's had opportunities at Texas this year, he's a playmaker. And so I was really happy to see him get on the field more. He got it from linebacker and edge. But I think he's going to play his way onto the field more and more this year because I think he's a guy that, given this, if he gets his snap count up, he will make positive plays for this defense. And I think this Texas defense, as talented as they are, Bobby, they need more plays behind the line of scrimmage.
They do. They need more play-ups and more disruption.
Yes.
It can't be all Colin Simmons, he did it again on Saturday. It's just got to be more frequent. I also want to say the run defense. We just need to do a tip of the cap, and that goes for all of them. OU had 2 or 3 runs that were 10 yards.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, it was just tough sledding. There was nothing there. Even John Mateer, they were doing a great job, in my opinion, keeping him hemmed in the pocket as well and not giving him any free run. The defense overall, I mean, look, 3 of the last 4 years now, Oklahoma's not scored a touchdown in this game. Pete Kwiatkowski has done a really nice job with the Texas defense, and yesterday was just another really, really good performance. And look, OU had some momentum because they had Mateer back. I mean, they had some fight. You know what I mean? You're like, hey, we got this guy back, but even so, it wasn't enough to beat up on Texas.
And by the way, hat tip to Manny Muhammad. Look, yes, maybe those weren't turn and run 50-50 ball interceptions, but if you're in good position, the ball seems to find you. And what happened? Manny got 2, Grayson Littleton got 1. Those are your 3 interceptions. Jelani McDonald dropped a pick 6. Michael Taft had another strong game with the sack and 9 tackles. I think what the Texas defensive backs did, I think they knew, but by the way, I think they knew Mateer was going to struggle throwing it down the field, right? He did have surgery 17 days ago.
Yeah.
But they were attached. I think the main thing is they were attached. If you're attached and a quarterback's inaccurate, then the ball is going to be around your hands. And then it comes down to making a play. Then it comes down to finishing a play. And that's a big thing for Manny Muhammad, because if he can put together a 3 or 4 interception season, that's going to do a lot for him because he's played at a high level, and Texas missed him against Florida. And then the final one we didn't really mention, but Colin Simmons, 2.5 sacks. And they still dropped him in coverage some. Still had 2.5 sacks in this game. And like you said, he came on a little bit last weekend against Florida after Texas kind of got hit in the mouth and they needed somebody, and he made the 3 straight plays on that possession. But it was really good to see Colin Simmons have a big day. And you know what? He had a big day in his hometown. That's always good. Him and Manny Muhammad both did.
I want to finish up with a couple other comments. One of them is Ryan Niblett.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about guys you're happy for. And you mentioned this in the post game, and I could not agree more. A guy that, 9 times out of 10, he transfers to Houston or Rice or SMU and then goes out and catches 30 or 40 balls, and everybody thinks he's a big-time player, et cetera. He stuck it out at Texas.
Yeah.
Sark has rewarded him with that. He has not been perfect as a punt returner, letting a ball bounce and then, have Texas end up having the ball inside their own 10. That was difficult yesterday. But then he comes up with a punt return like he did on Saturday. And I'll tell you what, Jerry, that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yes.
I think we all agree with that. that's where everybody, you felt very confident from then on that this game, it was no longer a one-score game. This was going to be Texas winning this ball game. What did you think about Niblett and special teams in general? Because they needed it, man. They needed this.
Yeah, no, I think that was a huge moment for Ryan and Niblett. And look, I hope he builds confidence from that and starts to play the ball more in the air. Honestly, I still think he needs to catch the football more, especially on the road. You can't give up those hidden yardages. But it was such a great thing for Ryan Niblett because we've talked about it multiple times. I'm going to reiterate it one more time. The easiest thing for him would have been to hit the portal. He was been at Texas 2 years, sometimes at wide receiver, sometimes at DB, sometimes at running back. So he hadn't found a home. He could easily say, I'm not getting developed here. I'm going to hit the portal because somebody probably DM'd him and told him to hit the portal and we got this for you. But they call them culture warriors in college sports, and I do think those guys exist. And I do think Sark has rewarded him because, like you said, Bobby, the easiest thing for these guys to do now is find and look for greener grass. The most difficult thing for the guys like that to do is stick around for year 3. And he stuck around when he didn't have to because there were better opportunities for him elsewhere. But those guys are so important in college athletics for teams. And it was great to see his teammates lift him up and put him on his shoulders after he returned that punt for a touchdown. His teammates love him. And that's a great feeling for Ryan Niblett.
I want to finish with this because, look, Texas took control of this game really in the third quarter, but it started in the second quarter with that long drive that resulted in a field goal after a missed throw to Parker Livingston in the back of the end zone. And I think I'm thinking of this. They had 3 consecutive drives, Jerry, where they went for over 10 plays, and it started in the second quarter and then the first 2 of the third quarter. Texas ran 25 plays from scrimmage in the third quarter compared to 4. Yeah, 4 for Oklahoma. That's just unheard of, and I think that kind of consistency and execution is what a lot of people have been calling for. Because I'm looking at it and thinking to myself, as we talk about that, fewer penalties in the second half and even in the second quarter, execution just better overall. Arch chucking the ball down, all of those things were positives and signs of growth from a young quarterback, signs of growth from a young offense. We talked about this going into the season. This offense would be young. I still believe, and I to this day, I think this Texas offense is going to get better and better as the year goes on and players keep getting older. I mean, it's just, and they see more reps with Arch. Ryan Wingo had a nice day on Saturday. 5 catches, came back for the ball in the scramble drill. DeAndre Moore, Emmett Mosley, we saw a little bit of Parker Livingston, again with a pair of catches. I think overall we're seeing an offense that grows, and I do believe that Trey Weisner's return, again, the MVP, we started off discussing him. He was the MVP, and rightfully so. Just a big difference in the Texas run game, big difference in the passing game to the running backs. He's got a little juice, and you need juice in the Southeastern Conference, and you need juice when you go play Oklahoma in the Cotton.
Yeah, and this is a game of confidence. I mean, you look at all sports, it's confidence. I mean, shooting a basketball is confidence. Making 3-foot putts is confidence, right? It's all confidence. And if Texas can take Saturday and build on it, to me, that's the most important thing, is building on it. Not showing up in Lexington and then doing one of these. It's where it's up and down. They have to build on this. They rebounded from the toughest adversity this program's had, I think, since Sark turned the corner. After Florida, Sark said it in the postgame press conference Saturday. He said it, and it was a culture week for Texas football. And did you see him bounce back and match physicality they had to do to start this game? And now they built confidence in the second half. It's actually the last 3 quarters offensively. The all young offensive linemen build confidence. I mean, Brandon Baker not having a penalty is a big deal for him right now. But now they got to build on it. I mean, that's the thing, is you have to build on it. And you don't have to build on it with 80-yard touchdowns and 40-point games. You just have to build on it with continuing to play disciplined football and getting the third and shorts and third and mediums.
Yeah, absolutely have to do that, and keep getting better. That's the whole game plan, right? All right, Jerry, before we let you go and finish this up episode of Rapid Reactions, you have anything else you want to add, bud?
Yeah, you know what? A little thing in this game that I thought was interesting is up 20-6. Texas could have just gone for that, right? And in the, they
What do
could
you
have.
mean? Full on the 4th and 4?
That Sark trotted Mason Shipley out, and he made that field goal to make it 23-6. And I say that because look, Mason Shipley had missed a couple of kicks in that game. Won the 55-yarder off the crossbar, which he ripped that ball. Then he came up short on a longer kick. He made a 48-yarder earlier in that game, but to send him out at the end of that game when it was 20-6, you could have just ran that ball. And it was 26, and you say Oklahoma's not scoring 2 touchdowns. But the Mason Shipley to make that kick in the end, because he's been really good for Texas this year, and I think it was big for him to walk out of there with confidence as well in this game. I mean, I thought that was something that people aren't going to talk about, but I think is really key. Because Texas on the road the next 2 weeks. His leg is going to be important, if not in Lexington, in Starkville. I truly believe that. Mississippi State believes they can win games now, so they become a dangerous opponent. But I just think it's something that's not going to be talked about. But I think it was really smart by Sark to get him that straightaway kick to make it 23-6.
All right, that's going to do it. This has been Rapid Reactions, brought to you by our friend Adam Lowy at the Lowy Law Firm. If you've been injured in a car wreck, truck wreck, automobile accident of any kind, and think you might be due compensation, make sure you reach out to Adam and his firm for a free, no strings attached consultation. Again, that's Adam Lowy over at loweylawfirm.com. Jerry, huge win for the Longhorns. Yes. No questions about it. This will carry over, I think, the momentum. It's such a big win. They just can't let it be for naught. They have to keep improving. All right, for Gerry Hamilton, I'm Bobby Burton. Thanks to our producer as well, Matt Hutchinson. You guys have a good one. Hook 'em.